What up, guys? So this week I'm going to be doing a real quick review on the new Kevin Smith film, Yoga Hosers. A lot of what we do for the No Namers podcast is influenced directly from Smodcast Network. So yes, I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. Unfortunately, this movie was not one of his best. But Kevin Smith's known to work really well with first-time actors. I mean, if you look at Clerks, he got great performances from both of his actors. If you look at Mallrats, he got a great performance from Jason Lee, again, a first-time actor. And if you look at Yoga Hosers, he got really great performances from both Harley Quinn, Smith, and Lily Rose Depp. So, I mean, as far as like working with first-time actors, the girls really shine. Like, they were really good. The chemistry was really good. You really believe that they were friends because, I mean, they really actually are. And you really actually like them. And they're like, there's charisma, and they're badass, and they're cool. But unfortunately, they're kind of stuck in this, like, really, like, not great story. And the problem is that half of the movie feels like a Disney movie. Like this, like, high school, these girls don't want to be at their jobs, but they also have to, deal with life, where they feel like they're better than the people that they're at, which is like Canada, and, what I guess the boring suburban life, which is kind of like a Disney type, movie. And Disney Channel, I'm not even talking about like a Disney film. So like half of it feels like a Disney Channel movie. And then the second half of it takes a heel turn, and it's like it becomes this like B movie where there's like a Nazi party, and then there's like, and they were in Canada this whole time, and then there's, these Bratzies, and they're like there's no like clear thing besides fame and like pot shots at critics. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Which is what the whole movie is like, what, why, like, or what? But I mean, from being a fan of Kevin Smith, like that's what he's trying to do, and he's just trying to make movies for himself, which I get. But I'm just like, Tusk had a thing where you felt like, oh my god, there's a lot of really good stuff in it, and it's just stuck like in its first draft. But Michael Parks really shine, where you're like, holy shit, this guy's really underused. Hollywood should really like use this man a lot more because he's a great actor. But, but as a Smodcast fan, also a lot of stuff to look forward to, a lot of like things from the podcast, things from, from that, from the universe, from the Smodcast universe. But this one had like things here and there, Ghibli Slider, the Smodimation stuff, but it just wasn't enough to like care or like keep you going. Like half the movie felt like the heel turn of going from the Disney movie to going into the B movie. It kind of felt like it was too late, and like all these other characters were introduced for no reason, like the Satanist kids that were trying to kill the girls. But like there was like this part of the movie where you're like, oh my god, this is fucking working. Like which was like all of the girls worked. Some of the stuff that didn't work was the Nazi guy was Ralph. Ralph just didn't work. His impressions, you're like, it works on the podcast on Hollywood Babylon, but it just does not work on the movie. It just didn't come out as funny, and that suffered. But when the girls were rapping, like when they were in their band and they were kind of like going back and forth, and you had the Beastie Boys feel to it, you're like, oh, they're fucking awesome. They're cool. They're in a band. And then, when they're in the store and they're dreading it, it's like, oh my god, the homage to Clerks, so cool. So you're like, if the movie would have just kind of be self-contained in the store, and the Zed, you're like, and the heel turn come in a lot earlier, I felt like the movie would have been a lot stronger. Instead of introducing like their school aspect and like their life aspect, if you just kind of self-contain them to the store and have the heel turn of just introducing a B movie from the beginning, I felt like it would have been a lot stronger. And yeah, I was just like, geez, like the girls really worked. Like when they're kicking ass, like that first fight with all the Bratzies, and like to the musical cue, like you forgive that, like, because I saw a lot of stuff on Rotten Tomatoes where like, oh, the effects look crappy, but you're like, you forgive it. They're so badass. They're out here kicking, ass, like using yoga poses and like hitting people with pucks, but they look so cool. You're like, oh shit, women power, fuck yeah. Um, but then right after that, like they get jailed, and then out of nowhere, Johnny Depp's character just kind of like slows the movie down. So it's like, as soon as the movie feels like there's a good pacing coming to it, and like the good parts are coming, it gets slowed down and then brought back into like, can we just get over this part? This part's basic, to use one of their jokes. But I felt like that's the problem, that it struggled in the first movie, where it's like, hey, we have Johnny Depp. Let's just keep him in there as long as we can, even though he doesn't, have that much really. He's not pushing the story along. He's just there for either exposition, just like other like useless scenes they had in the movie are literally just for exposition and not for actually pushing the movie forward. And I'm like, just because you have Johnny Depp doesn't mean you have to keep him in the whole movie or for, a lot of scenes. Overall, it struggled, but the girls were a revelation. I felt like, oh wow, these girls are going to be, like, they're going to definitely go on and do great things if they, like, choose to keep acting. You could have never tell that was their first movie. So, that was great. Overall, the movie, I wouldn't tell you to go see it at the theaters, but it's definitely like if you're at home and it's on Amazon or Netflix, and you're baked out of your mind, just like when he wrote it, he was probably baked out of his mind, then you might enjoy it. And if you're just like a fan of Smodcast, there's stuff here and there dropped in there, that, it just might keep you going as a fan. Overall, yeah, it's kind of a home watch, but not like a get your popcorn ready, go to the movies, type of movie. But, all right, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully that made sense. I know I rambled. I'm just kind of like, I remember like feeling really passionate when I left. I'm like, oh, I this and that. And now I'm just kind of more, man, it could have been so much more. It could have been just Clerks with like these chicks that don't care, but also like they're kind of badass and they're in a band and they could just stop working and like do yoga in the roof or do yoga in the basement, just kind of like how the guys used to just fuck off from work and go play hockey in the in the roof. I was like, why? There's so many good stuff they could have done, but it happens. So leave a like down below or let me a comment if you guys think I'm wrong or right, or what you guys think about Yoga Hosers, or just like, either way. You guys have a good week, and I'll check you guys later.